a Grand Marquee or is this a...
car right now? Like, how many floats are to jump out of this thing?
All right, hi, this is Timothy Gager, and we're headed to the Massachusetts Poetry Festival. On my right is Nick Flynn in the back. We have Gregory Pardo, and we have Rachel Eliza Griffins. So I want to say hello, everyone.
Hello
everyone.
So what is, have you guys ever been to the Massachusetts Poetry Festival before?
I have not.
I have not been to the Massachusetts Poetry Festival. I'm really excited.
I've been to it, I think this might be my third time, I believe. At least, yeah, maybe fourth.
All right, let's talk to the rookies then.
Yeah.
So what are your expectations for a festival such as this?
My context, my frame of reference is probably the Dodge Festival, Dodge Poetry Festival. You familiar with that one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'm guessing, based on the amount of emotion and the profile of all the featured readers and activities, that it's somewhere along in that size, along some range of the Dodge Festival.
What about you, Rachel?
I would say my expectation for a poetry festival is that each person goes away like really happy they came and that they ate something amazing and they heard a poet who kind of either they looked forward to seeing or like they found someone new that they're now obsessed about.
Oh, you're asking about the experience?
Sure.
That's what. So I give a poet, give three poets a question. It's like a great joke. Like three poets walk into a car. What happens? Especially when they just woke up from a nap.
Now, you all have readings coming up. Want to say a little bit about your readings?
Yeah, I should prepare. I should be preparing for that right now, actually.
You're reading tonight, right?
Yeah.
Are you guys all reading new stuff, or any idea?
I think I'm going to read from my new book.
Some digest?
Yeah.
800 yards.
That's a good idea. Rachel, what are you going to read?
Since we're representing four-way books.
We are repping four-way books in this.
Hi, Martha.
Hey, Martha. I have a sign.
Is that our four-way sign?
Yeah, this is a four-way sign. Note the wingspan on this.
Have any of you guys read together before? Or?
All the time.
Yes.
Well,
No,
no, we haven't read together. We've read in the same, events, but we haven't shared a stage together.
I don't think we
I
have.
think
But
so.
we're all friends, though, in Brooklyn. We all live in Brooklyn.
Every poet in Brooklyn is related to
We know what they say. Brooklyn is the new Brooklyn.
yeah.
We all ended up
51st
somehow.
state.
Now, I know how diverse a crew we have here. Nick's also obviously known for his memoir work. I know Rachel's known for her photography. And Gregory, I do not know that much about because you, I was just told to pick you up at the train. But I do know that you're a fabulous Pulitzer Prize winner. Do you do any other styles? Do you do any other styles of writing, Gregory?
Yes, I write essays.
All right, so if I can ask each of you separately, is there any difference in your mental approach to writing in a different way, or does it just kind of come to you?
My essays are really long poems. In other words, I approach them the same way, the same simple logic.
Yeah, I think it's all writing to me too. Like I don't, they at least they start. I approach them in the same way. They start the same way. Then when it comes time to finish them, then it sort of determines whether it's a poem or prose. But they all start in the same place, the same impulse, which is I don't know where I'm going with most of them. Often when I finish, I don't know where I've come to either. So.
What about you, Rachel, with photography?
I would say for photography, there's some play of language. Like there's some language fragment probably at work somewhere in the image. Like there's some kind of conversation. It's mostly a non-verbal one. So a lot of my fine arts photography actually really tries to integrate language with imagery. And I'm a lyric poet, so my photography, I would say, is very lyrical, even as the images are involved.
These are all fantastic answers. And it reminded me of a question that I was about to answer, and I've just, I was wondering about the traffic, so I need to figure it out. Oh, in order for, say there's basically all three of you are basically viewed to have made it, quote unquote, if that's a possibility in poetry. What if, as a advice for poets that are trying to make it, that are trying to reach the level and acclaim that you've all received, what's some quick advice that you can give them?
Oh, well, I would just say I wouldn't worry about making it. I just worry about making the poem, really. Like, and then anything that comes is just just gravy on top of that. But the main thing is just the work. It's just doing the work, and also just finding work that you love, like finding what brings you joy when you're doing it. So, but sometimes you have to go through like years of like struggle and pain to find that joy, though. So don't give up if it doesn't make you happy. Immediately, yeah. But give up if it doesn't make you happy at the end. I guess, no. Don't give up.
Hey, Rachel and Gregory, is that something that you agree with? You want to add to that?
Yeah, I agree with it. Greg, do you want to say something?
Well, just to add, the work is the reward. If you're coming to it for anything other than the glory of expressing something you didn't know you had in you, then you probably in it for the wrong reasons.
I mean, for me, if the Grand Marquis got rear-ended and I was only surviving poet out of here, it probably would bring attention to my work. That's about as far as I can get with that.
We don't need to have that happen today. Let's have that happen tomorrow.
Suddenly the interview took a dark turn.
And there's the
tends to happen with
darkness.
How do you guys feel about, I mean, this, my friends and I, we've discussed this often, about how readings have kind of become these events, and then events end up taking a life of their own. It becomes less about the poetry. Have you experienced that at all?
Not really. Maybe I don't go to those kind of poetry events. I mean, I know there's things that sort of have stuff attached to it, but I don't, all I can think of is readings that have like music attached to them. Like there's a series in New York called Mixer, and they have music, but it doesn't seem to take away from the poetry. It just sort of gives you a chance to listen to some good music too. So. Oh, there's the notes. Now you get the notes.
This is my
out.
Preparation going on.
While you drive. It's like texting. It's like texting while driving.
Against the law.
Old school texting.
Yeah, old school texting.
Rachel, you said in an interview that you didn't like to write poems that assume anything, especially complex and profound things about poems about God. Is there anything you want to say about that? And I'd like to hear what Nick and Gregory think of that quote.
You don't like my poems about God?
I didn't think
You don't like my complex poems about God?
I didn't know. Did I just wake up from a nap and I'm in the afterlife? God's afterlife. This is God saying, there you go. Don't comment in interviews when you don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. Are you asking me about God?
I'm asking you about such a large concept. I think that's where the original question in the original interview went. How would you sum up something like that? And I'm going to piggyback into my next question.
Okay. I think for me, it's discovery is something at stake in much of my poems. Like I really don't know where I'm going. I'm interested to see kind of where the journey is going to go, and to have some faith and to have some spirituality, and to kind of see it as as sacred. I mean, I think I remember. A while back doing a reading with Ed Hirsch, and we both talked about prayer in poems and the presence of prayer in poems, and we had this really beautiful and intriguing conversation because he had written his beautiful work about his son, and I was reading poems from Lighting the Shadow, which is my most recent book, and there is a kind of conversation and like interrogation and meditation about the spirit and the bankruptcy of spirit. And so I'm very connected on a daily basis of like meditation and kind of spiritual practice and cultural practice as well. And so I I think I try to leave it open though in the poems for the reader, so like the reader doesn't slam against the brick wall of God should he or she not want to. But yet they could too if they wanted to. But I probably just don't really start out any particular poem and say this is about this. After I figure out some kind of like driving element, then maybe going back and revising and things like that. But I mean, it's a really, really great question. I'll probably have a better answer tomorrow morning.
That's a great answer.
No, that's a great answer.
It's a great answer. Yeah, it's interesting just to what it does to invite God into the poem. Like that's like it does carry so much. He or she does carry so much baggage that suddenly the whole poem shifts toward that or something. This other concept, which can be good or bad, I guess, but it seems like it's a funny thing, to bring God in.
It feels like intimacy too. I mean, it like intimacy suddenly becomes vertical when you kind of invite the powers in, so to speak, or they come from the earth. So, I think discovery and intimacy. And that happens to us individually, but then it happens to us as readers with someone else's work. So,
And that's hard to do if God is there. The same.
Yeah, I mean, it can be, but I don't mind either. I mean, that's some great company there.
I did a thing with Marie Howe, and she did that thing. Were you there at the thing she did at the train station the other day?
Yes, the poet is in.